The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
So apparently there was a reasonable explanation to the whole subbing or not subbing towards the end of the game, K-State, Arizona State, where the Sun Devils was just allowed to take all the time they wanted to make their subs. Guys were, quote, lollygagging off the field, taking their sweet time. Chris Klieman explained at the press conference yesterday, plus addressing the offensive issues, long snapping issues, any wholesale changes coming. We'll get to that audio here in just a few moments. It is Tuesday. We'll have a Jabroni of the Week in hour number 1. MitchPom versus Mississippi Valley State tonight from Bramlage Coliseum. Listen, this is one of those games that, yes, you'll win on the scoreboard, but it's the opposite of a resume win. The only way this game affects you is if you're not impressive, it hurts you. Especially coming off an 11-point loss to LSU. Mississippi Valley State is like literally the worst team in America.
Mississippi Valley State, two things on them. One, that's the school Jerry Rice went to. Number two, you should win this game by 40. If you win this game by like 20, people are not going to be happy.
Hey, man, don't give away my MitchPom now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you're going to mention that. I'm sorry.
But you said 40 points. Yeah. So the line tonight is K-State is favored by 39.5. I mean, Texas led it by 10 at half in Austin the other night. I think Mizzou scored like 111 on Mississippi Valley State. Look, the Delta Devils is nothing but a team in non-conference play that travels the country and cashes checks that helps out the athletic department.
Who was their only win against?
I'll save that for MitchPom because that's also a very interesting nugget.
Right.
We'll call it a nugget. It's not necessarily like a nugget. It's just interesting.
Okay.
It's something I had to look a little deeper into because it doesn't make sense, but I'll explain it a little bit later on. MitchPom coming up at 5:10. Troy's not here with me leaving at about 5:30. We're going to end up ending the show at 5:30, but pregame coverage for the K-State men against Mississippi Valley State is at 6 o'clock and tipping off a few minutes after 7 from Bramlage Coliseum. Ask us anything. We'll wrap us up just before 5:30. Last night in Bramlage, the K-State women, they beat Little Rock by the final score of 73-43. I said a lot of nice things about the K-State women yesterday afternoon on Wildcat Insider. Complimented them. I got to be real with you. Last night, even though they won by 30, Little Rock, they're okay. They're not as, I would say, a quality of opponent as what K-State's seen in the previous 3 games. You know, I wasn't too impressed with the Cats last night, to be honest with you. And I said a lot of great things about them yesterday. Don't get me wrong, I'm still impressed by what they've done so far this year. Hell, they won by 30. But when I say I wasn't necessarily impressed, what I loved, just the first 3 games is they were hitting shots. They were hitting outside shots. They're 41% from 3, and last night they go 5 of 25 from 3. Tamira Poindexter was 2 of 13 from the floor. Kennedy Taylor was 1 of 3, only played 12 minutes. Eliza Maupin and Amani Lester, a little bit deeper there on the bench, got a lot of playing time, and they both played actually pretty well. I was impressed with them. Maupin finished with 10 points, 8 rebounds in 16 minutes. Most of that was in the second half. Aokali dominates again. 16 points, 11 rebounds in 14 minutes. K-State Athletics put out a stat earlier today, like there's only, I may butcher this a little bit, but there's only 3 players in the entire nation that have scored in let me see if I can pull this up here real quick because it's a pretty interesting nugget this early on in the season. So only 3 players in the nation have recorded a double-double in 16 minutes or less, and 2 of those players play for K-State, Aoka Lee and Kennedy Taylor. But us raving about Poindexter and Taylor, they both had a rough night last night. Jay Glenn only goes 0 for 3, does not score in 19 minutes. She had 5 rebounds. K-State got a little bit sloppy at times with the basketball. It was just a really tough shooting night. That's about it. Everything else was really good. The Cats dominated on the boards 58-36. They didn't foul very much, although there was a little bit of foul trouble with Aoka Lee. But shout to Yoki. Moves up the leaderboard in the all-time points leaders. She passed last night Nicole Oldie for second all-time in scoring with 2,243 points at the time. Now she's at 2,249. She's, I believe, now less than 100 points away from passing Kendra Wecker, all-time in points in K-State women's basketball history. Listen, I asked Coach last time, like, this is kind of the maybe you're going to have a come down to earth type of game with Vegas a week away. Maybe this is the right time, especially with another game coming up tomorrow against Milwaukee, tipping off at 6:30 and in pregame coverage at 6 o'clock. But like I said, wasn't impressed by just the lack of shots, the jumpers falling, but they got their own. 48 points in the paint, and everybody was scoring in the paint. I liked the ball control from Taryn Sides. She is a much more comfortable player with the basketball. There were just a couple of times she tried to do a little bit too much, and it resulted in a number of turnovers. Okay. Speaking of K-State women, we're giving away tickets a little bit later on. Go ahead and text MIDI, 785-537-1350. During a break later on in the show, we'll give away a 4-pack of tickets to tomorrow night's game against Milwaukee. Text MIDI to 785-537-1350. You might be getting a call in this next hour and a half to win those tickets. All right, to K-State football. I asked the question at the press conference yesterday. Well, I just brought it up, really. And I wanted to get Coach's thoughts on late in the game. Arizona State is doing a lot of subbing, and they're taking their time. And K-State's booing. The fans are booing. They're like, what are we doing? Why are we subbing? Well, it kind of turns out K-State actually wasn't subbing. Here is Coach Klieman's reaction, the explanation of what happened late in the game when K-State's trying to drive. They're down 24-14, get a late score, make it a one-score game, and then Arizona State just is able to drain a bunch of time on defense.
If the ball's anywhere near the white on your sideline, it's an automatic substitution because nobody knows if somebody's coming off the sideline. That's just the NCAA rule. And so that happened to us 3 times out of 5 plays where it was caught, tackled, out of bounds, or right on the ticks. We're not sure if it's inbounds, and it's an immediate open.
I got a feeling most of us had no idea that rule existed. And I'm going to raise my hand and say that. I did not know that particular rule existed. I thought it was just simpler than that. When when the offensive team substitutes, here comes one of the back judges, and they're going to step up to the center, say, hold on, don't snap it yet. You have to allow the defense to sub for personnel reasons. It does now when it's said out loud. Sounds, first of all, it is a reasonable explanation of what happened to K-State, but also it's a rule that's like, what the hell is that? Because that turns into a major advantage to the offense, especially when it's that late in the game. You want to use the sidelines, and it's like a big advantage to the defense. More on that from Chris Klieman about the late sub being the system's fault.
That thing stays open. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, and now you can bring a guy out. And you guys see it. Everybody's doing it. I'm going to jog out. Fitz doesn't know I'm coming in for him. Hey, Fitz, you're out. Oh, me? Well, you shouldn't have been in the game anyway because you're not a good enough player, Fitz, but you're in the game. Oh, okay, so then I come out. So then I waddle off, and that happened, and we lost a minute and a half. That's something that we all know. I talk to the officials about. We talk as coaches. We've got to get cleaned up.
I never thought I would hear Chris Klieman complain about this particular rule in substituting, because the first example I go to of Chris Klieman using the rule to his advantage of, all right, the offense is going to sub. Let's take our sweet-ass time and let's sub ourselves, and we're going to take forever. We're going to make the offense take either delay a game penalty or they're going to have to take a timeout. And the example I always think of is the 2022 Oklahoma game where K-State is up 2 scores a lot of the game. It's the Adrian Martinez breakout game where he ran all over the field. He had that 40-something yard run to clinch it, and there were a number of times that Oklahoma had to take a timeout or take a delay a game because K-State took a long time to sub, and they used the rule to its advantage. This is the first time I think we've truly seen this backfire on K-State's offense because there were a number of plays that were made or, passes with the short out routes, trying to pick up a chunk of yards or a first down and going out of bounds. That was used against K-State. It was good coaching by Kenny Dillingham if they were given K-State that space to go make a play on that side. But it's also like, well, I'll let Coach explain because here's part 3 of this clip about, it's not easy to just say, just don't go over to that side of the field.
The easy thing would be to say, don't throw it into your boundary. Okay, well, then you're going to take half the field and say you just can't throw it there. If that's where his read took him, I don't want to tell Avery, you can't throw it there because we're afraid we're going to be close to the white, and then they're going to not stop the clock. I mean, boy, that's a lot of stuff going through that kid's head. And so that was a circumstance that obviously we've got to learn from, but also we've got to find some ways to fix that in college football.
Listen, for a while I've been begging this offense to, especially early in the game, if you're going to attack in the passing game, attack more down the middle of the field. But also, this also has to be kept in mind as well. The new, I don't know when this went in last year, 2 years ago, whatever, but if it's not the last 2 minutes of the half, going out of bounds doesn't stop the clock anymore, So even going out of bounds or making a play over on that side and stepping out of bounds, it's not going to stop the clock. You don't necessarily have to go over to that side of the field. Maybe Arizona State just wanted that to happen, but K-State probably still needed to be a little bit more aggressive there, but you have to at least make the plays where the defense is giving it to you, right? So that's a really tough thing. I think the rule is pretty crappy because the way Chris Klieman explained it, I tried to find in the rule book where exactly this rule is, and I couldn't find it, but apparently it is a rule, of course, that it's not the player going out of bounds automatically says, all right, this is an automatic substitution. It's just close to the boundary. That's the broken part about that. Close to the boundary is led up to interpretation by that particular official or a number of officials. I don't know what that means necessarily. Is it within 5 yards? Is it within 2 yards? And it's not necessarily the ball carrier either. It could be another player that's around there that went into the bench or something, and they don't know if there's going to be a substitution. So talk about something that we weren't necessarily knowing or, we didn't have the knowledge about, completely kind of taking K-State out of their rhythm and slowing things down. And that ate up about 2 minutes off the clock. But honestly, that's far from the biggest issues from the game on Saturday for K-State against Arizona State, only scoring 14 points, could not move the football in the running game in the first half. We'll break it down more with Chris Klieman and more audio from his press conference at yesterday's press conference, Monday at the Veneer Football Complex, including personnel changes, Avery Johnson, and more. That's coming up next. You're listening to The Game.
You're in the game on News Radio KMAN.
Manhattan Broadcasting is keeping it local. Dollars spent locally today help build a better community for tomorrow.
D&I Plumbing, Heating, and Air will provide honest and quality service when you need it most. From a leaky faucet to replacing your water heater. Trust the experts at D&I Plumbing, Heating, and Air, your York and other makes and models local dealer. Call 537-7138 today.
Give a gift that will last a lifetime this holiday season. Let Candlewood Frame Shop frame a picture or create a shadow box. Just bring in your favorite memories and let them help you with the perfect gift. Candlewood Frame Shop in Manhattan, turning your memories into a masterpiece.
For a once-in-a-lifetime experience, engagement ring shopping simply can't be duplicated on a computer screen. At Fifely Jewelers, you'll be pleasantly surprised by our pricing compared to buying online, and we offer financing. Plus, you'll have peace of mind by shopping locally with Fifely Jewelers.
Manhattan Broadcasting is keeping it local. Find more great local businesses plus special deals and offers when you keep it local on our website.
At McCown Gordon Construction, we improve lives by building authentic relationships. No matter the project size, our clients enjoy unmatched talent and resources in the Manhattan area market. Early collaboration with our pre-construction team ensures cost certainty, preventing surprises. Whether it's education space for learning or healthcare space for healing, we build to serve the community. McCown Gordon Construction, proud builder for K-State and the KSU Foundation. Visit McCownGordon.com.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I push through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. Hungry kids get sick more often and can struggle in school. It can be harder for them to focus and learn. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good, healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures.
We want to ensure that all of our kids have healthy meals every day.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping feed our kids.
To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
From opening night to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, don't miss a second of the NFL this season. Hi, this is Kurt Warner of Westwood One. Join our crew each week for the best in primetime NFL action. Monday night, Sunday night, and Thursday night football, plus marquee games on Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, and more. Westwood One is the exclusive radio home for every primetime and postseason game. It's right here.
1350 AM, 93.3 and 93.7 FM. This is News Radio KMAN.
I'm AJ Shaw with a sports update for News Radio KMAN as the game continues. K-State junior running back DJ Giddens was one of 10 running backs in the country, including 4 from the Big 12, to be named a semifinalist for the 2024 Doak Walker Award. The PWC SMU Athletic Forum announced Tuesday. Giddens is the 4th player in school history to be named a semifinalist or finalist for the award that recognizes the top running back in college football. Darren Sproles was a finalist in 2003, while Daniel Thomas and Deuce Vaughn twice were each semifinalists. The Big 12 Conference named K-State graduate Aaliyah Carter as its Offensive Player of the Week. After leading the Wildcats to a top 25 sweep over TCU, the league office announced Tuesday. Carter earns her second weekly honor of the season after picking up 22 kills against then number 18 TCU. Her 8th 20-kill match of the season to power K-State to its first victory over a ranked opponent this season. In addition to hitting at a .308 clip, Carter tallied 10 digs to complete the 32nd double-double for her career, while also totaling 3 blocks against the Horned Frogs. The Dubuque, Iowa product has now produced 25 career matches with 20 or more kills, which is one shy of tying second all-time in school history, alongside K-State's first-team All-American, Dawn Katie. Cats tonight, men's basketball taking on Mississippi Valley State in Bramlage, looking to bounce back after a loss Thursday against LSU. Pregame is at 6, tip at 7 here on News Radio KMAN at 101.5 K-Rock.
The game continues. Mitch Fortner, AJ Shaw, Cole Dutchendorf. He's across the glass right now. Can't see him on camera, but he's training to learn the board. And Troy's supposed to be back with us on Thursday. He is in Florida doing the wife months ago had a surgery out there getting a checkup on that surgery. So we wish them nothing but the best. K-State basketball tonight against Mississippi Valley State. We have MitchPom coming up at 5:10, giving you tonight's official prediction. And tipping off at 7. Pre-game coverage at 6 right here on News Radio KMAN. And also online, newsradiokman.com. And our sister station, 101.5 K-Rock, will have coverage of that as well. This Saturday, senior night at Bill Snyder Family Stadium at 7 o'clock kickoff. K-State hosting Cincinnati for the first time since, I believe, 1994 is the last time. Yeah, 94, I believe, was the last time K-State hosted Cincinnati. So I do believe that Kevin Lockett catch on the last play of the game was 1995. I hope I'm getting my years correct. But that game kicks off at 7. Power Keg Game Day, the biggest pregame show in the Big 12, will start at 3 o'clock. I heard the boos loud and clear at the Bill on Saturday 3 or 4 times. I can't recall a time where there was that much booing, that much disagreement, unhappiness, unpleasant, hard to watch offense at times for K-State, only scoring 14 points and being held scoreless in the first half since the KU game in 2018. I've been reading your comments. I've been hearing about the reaction pointed at towards the personnel, the coaches, Connor Riley. Coach Klieman said at his press conference on Monday, without naming a group or a person, naming them outright or anything like that, not pointing in one direction at anybody in particular, not making any big changes.
We've got to focus on the task at hand, and I'm not any time thinking about making wholesale changes on one side of the ball or another, or personnel, whatever you want to talk about. We've got to find a way to get better, and we've got to find a way to stay the course.
Now, I understand the heat towards Connor Riley as a first-year offensive coordinator, never been a coordinator before, and seeing the downward trajectory of the offense, people are wanting to see a change. And I said on yesterday's episode of Wildcat Insider that I think changes need to be made, but I wasn't necessarily just talking about the OC. I mean, where I would love to start is just how the thing is scripted right out of the gates. I'm talking first drive into the second drive. K-State has only scored a touchdown on the opening drive one game in Big 12 play, and that was against Oklahoma State. They've kicked a couple of field goals, but the opening drive is such a tone setter. And more often than not, way more often than not, the opposing defense is coming off the field feeling like they got to win. Where K-State is going 3 and out, or they get a first down, but then they got a punt, and they're not getting to enemy territory, or they drive into enemy territory, and against Houston, and it's BYU, were the other 2 games where they scored on the opening drive, but we all felt once K-State kicked that field goal and went up 3-0, that was a tone setter, and it wasn't necessarily the best tone for K-State because the opposing fans were cheering. The opposing defense made some big plays that kept K-State out of the end zone, where they get in the red zone and they can't punch it in. The first drives this year in Big 12 play have been some major tone setters. K-State, I mean, they blew out Oklahoma State. Just happens to turn out that they are the worst team in the Big 12 this year, and who knows if they're going to win a game. I think their last game is against Colorado. They're doomed. that season is over. And I said beginning of the year, my big hot take was Mike Gundy is out this year as the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, but I was like putting that towards the old driving drunk thing that he let the cat out of the bag at Big 12 Media Days. The Mounties there in Stillwater now know that their streets are not safe. Who knew that football would be really bad in Stillwater this year? The whole personnel change, though, thing, to go back to that, not Klieman's, it's not necessarily, it doesn't appear the way, that's the way he's going to do things, right? When Courtney Messingham was let go, that was after the regular season. That was before the Texas Bowl. That's when Colin Klein got his opportunity to test the waters, get that rehearsal, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, test drive as an offensive coordinator, and it went pretty well against an LSU team that hardly had anybody playing in that game. They had so many opt-outs, but it turned out it was 2 pretty decent years for Colin Klein at OC. Maybe you could put Connor Riley on the field. I don't know. But, to me, it's not – I don't put all the fault on Connor Riley. The players and Austin Moore did this, right? He did it after the game where he took accountability and he spoke for the players. I think there has been a pretty big lack of execution too often for the guys on offense, from the offensive line, running backs. Avery Johnson is guilty as well. Coach Klieman wants to say he missed some throws against Arizona State. I thought he missed a lot of throws. Some big plays where the pass was inaccurate or was too long, wasn't lined up right, after some pretty good routes. Coach Klieman said at the press conference, Avery knows he can play better.
I thought he threw the ball, for the most part, pretty well. He missed a couple. I know he and Wells have talked about. I want him to cut it loose a little bit more in running the football. Maybe not in the first quarter on the first drive, but in the red zone and in the fourth quarter, because he's a real threat with his legs. But, we're 10 games into this, and he's still growing, still learning, and I see some improvement. But I know that there's more in Avery.
It appears to me on the field that Avery, there's obviously not hardly any design runs for him, other than, some RPO stuff, or not RPO, but the read option, goal to go against Arizona State and can't punch it in. You end up missing the field goal. He was a little bit hesitant. He made a cut that it didn't need to be made. Plus, it just appears to me on the field that he is playing hurt, and he could be a little bit skittish. He could tuck and run it a little bit more often, and then when he runs, he's fallen to the ground pretty early. Plus, also just guys need to be smarter out there. Avery, when it's that last drive and he tucks and runs, he needs to get out of bounds. You got to get out of bounds. You can't fall on the ground and roll and keep the clock rolling. The offensive lineman downfield on the long touchdown pass to Dante Cephas. I don't know what Andrew Langang was doing. You can't be downfield on a play like that, and you're like 5 or 6 yards down the field. Unless there was a miscommunication, those kind of things can't happen. K-State needs to execute, but they also need to play some smarter football. And going back to the running game, we've seen 6 out of the last 8 quarters. K-State can't run the football. 6 of the last 8 quarters, 2.3 yards per carry. The offensive line is having a tough time winning the line of scrimmage. And Coach brought it up as well at the press conference that we can tell that DJ's a little bit banged up and he's showing it in the running game. He only carried it 14 times against Arizona State. He did finish with a $133. I think if he's able to just groove down the field, not have to cut a whole lot, he's fine. But I've noticed that I thought at first it was just a vision issue. Like he just wasn't seeing the gap that was there for a moment. He's not hitting the gap. It's not a battering ram anymore. He's having to dance around in the backfield. The first cut is in the backfield. So it's a little bit of a mess. K-State, of course, had its moments against Arizona State, but that's when, as Coach said, Arizona State got a little vanilla in their defense and also in their offense as well. Excuse me, I had a cough there for a second, but I was encouraged by some backups that came into the game and got more playing time. Trey Spivey made a really great play, made a couple of really great plays. He had one of the biggest catches of the game of 26 yards against Arizona State. Joe Jackson, I think I could tell by his body language, he's been chomping at the bit to go make a play. And with Dylan Edwards getting hurt, and who knows if he's going to play this Saturday against Cincinnati, he's a redshirt freshman, so super young, but he should have had a touchdown against Tulane. He finally gets his first career score last Saturday against Arizona State. He's only touched the ball a handful of times, and it's mostly been in mop-up duty. He's made some plays. You can see the talent in his very little time on the field. He's a pretty talented kid. He wants to play. He's ready to get out there and go play. Yes, even if Dylan is down, you have a very fresh Joe Jackson. Trey Spivey, for the most part, is fresh. Now is, I think, the time when you're on the brink, of course, to be officially eliminated from the Big 12 championship game, which I don't see at all K-State getting in now because of just needing too much to happen that's out of your control. You're still 7-3. It's a very, record-wise, the season still looks good. You could still win 10 wins this year, but I think we're all going to be a little bit disappointed with K-State just going to a Liberty Bowl or a Texas Bowl or whatever. That's not exciting. Now's the time to get some of those young guys in. And, somebody hit me up in an email, actually, earlier today and just brought up, felt like emotionally K-State was kind of checked out or they didn't seem fired up on the sideline. And, I don't see that. I can't watch that during the game. I'm not watching the game live other than, of course, up in the booth, but I'm not watching like other people are. But I did notice on the replay watching on the TV broadcast that Avery was pretty fired up on the sideline on a couple of occasions. He's trying to get the guys fired up. Now, I will say there's a couple of individuals I've seen that I'm not liking the body language. I'm not necessarily liking the effort. And one of them is a wide receiver that I haven't been too happy about, like the corrections on, you run the route, and then when Avery's improvising and he needs guys to get open, some guys just aren't getting open. But I also wonder as well, when I go back and say that, I'm not putting this all on Connor Riley, execution has to be there. And I think you got a lot of young guys that are ready to get out there and go step up when others might not be. So the only unfortunate thing there is I don't know if the offensive line has enough depth to make any big changes. But I think at wide receiver, you might have a little bit of that. I think Trey Spivey is ready to play more. I think Joe Jackson, this might just be his opportunity. He's been waiting his turn. This is his opportunity to go make a play and go make some, Cincinnati's numbers-wise is not so great at stopping the run, but Dante Corleone is supposed to play now against K-State. That's going to be better for them, but K-State needs to get that run game going. With DJ being banged up, you're going to have to start relying on some younger guys. Did you want to say something, Cole?
I mean, I kind of like you were saying already, and what we've heard on social media, we need to see those younger guys start to get into the mix. And you talked about some of the body language. The one that stuck out to me was Dylan Edwards gets hit when he gets injured on that little toss and gets hit on the sideline. They call the flag. There was no one fired up on the K-State sideline coming to rally for him, coming to his aid. I don't know how much that is. Maybe it's just a microcosm of the game and the situation they were in, but would have loved to see that spot, especially, you got a star young player, Kansas kid. He's injured, takes a late hit out of bounds. Have your teammates have your back, get on the sideline, get in that dude's face. I don't know how much that meant, and it might have just been, the coaches holding players back, but that was just something I noticed too during that game.
That is interesting because that was also brought up in the email. That was the part I forgot to bring up, and I'm glad you did. That is weird. I can't tell you necessarily. It seemed like everybody was focused on Dylan because he's limping off the field. In the late hit, wasn't it just basically a shove? It wasn't like
it was pretty bang bang too. It wasn't like a super obscene hit out of bounds, but even then,
because watching upstairs, it looked like Dylan wasn't out of bounds yet, and he just basically got shoved out. But he was limping. I mean, in football, there's not necessarily an unwritten rule that I'm aware of that if a guy's running the football, he's limping towards the sideline, he's still not free. He's not free game no longer. You know what I'm saying? So. I don't know, that's kind of a weird situation because I think the players were, the way I saw it on the replays, looked like they were just all looking at Dylan. And he basically just got shoved into the guys there in the sideline. Dylan never fell. He just kind of fell into the arms of his teammates and he stayed on his feet. So I didn't see it as egregious, but, maybe the fans do want to see them more fired up in a play like that.
I don't even think it was necessarily egregious. I mean, in real time, I didn't know if it was even a penalty. But just to have some of that fight, I mean, we've seen less egregious things happen and the team rally to your aid. As you see a quarterback get hit late or something like that, and you see the team get fired up and that sort of thing. In a game where you need it to stay alive, really, in Big 12 contention, and you're not doing well so far, I would have loved to see that be a moment where the sideline could get motivated and get some more spark under their skin.
But anyway, but going back to Connor Riley for just a moment, and I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but I just want to repeat it real quick about I want to see a better start to the game. I'd mentioned yesterday that K-State, they've scored just 3 points in the first quarter in the last 3 games. They're averaging just 10 points in the first half. That's one of the worst numbers in the Big 12. This offense, of course, and Connor Riley and the staff need to figure out a way to, of course, move the football. And I say move the football, I mean total yardage this season. It is a little bit down, but it's still top half of the country. It's not great, but it's okay. It's good. We, of course, want it to be better. But I'm like Coach Klieman. I'm always looking at points, right? That's what matters the most. And when you're only averaging 10 points in the first half, and you're more often than not turning the football over or punting than you are just kicking a field goal or having the opportunity to kick a field goal in the first quarter, that's not good. So scripting needs to be better. Early game planning needs to be better, and that does fall on the shoulders of Connor Riley and the offensive staff. We need to take a break, and when we come back, it is Jabroni of the Week. 3 dishonorable mentions. My Jabroni of the Week official for this week is coming up next.
Your home for K-State sports.
5 seconds left. Kavanaugh with a deep drop this time and lets it fly deep to the end zone. Lockett is in there. So are a bunch of blue shirts. And it is caught in the end zone by Anderson. Touchdown.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
The hunt for the G. Thomas Jewelers, Godfrey's Ranges, and Tactical Supply Hy-Vee Jingle Bell Rock is about to begin. Thousands in cash and prizes are at stake. Win even more if you have a Jingle Bell Rock hunting tag. And this year, you can get multiple hunting tags for your chance at weekly prizes. The more hunting tags you have, the more your chances of winning each week. Plus, if you find the rock, your cash prize will double. Pick up your limited edition hunting tag this Wednesday at M&S Plumbing, Heating, and Air from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Goblin Games from 4 to 6.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
This is Dalton Melican with the Manhattan Fire Department for some home fire escape tips. When making a home escape plan, draw a map of each level of the house. Show all doors and windows, go to each room, and point 2 ways out. Practice the plan with everyone in your household, including visitors. Teach your children how to escape on their own in case you cannot help them. Make sure they can open windows, remove screen, and unlock doors. A closed door may slow the spread of smoke, heat, and fire. Install smoke alarms in every sleeping room outside each separate sleeping area. Have an outside meeting place, something permanent, like a tree, light pole, or mailbox, a safe distance in front of your home where firefighters will easily find you. Make sure your house number can be seen easily from the street both night and day. If there's a fire in your house, when the smoke alarm sounds, get out and stay out. Go to the outside meeting place, call 911 or the fire department. If there's smoke blocking the door or the first way out, use your second way out. Smoke is poisonous. If you must escape through the smoke, get low and go under the smoke to your way out. For more fire safety tips, visit us on Facebook at Manhattan Fire Department.
Brought to you by the Manhattan Fire Department and Manhattan Broadcasting Company.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
NewsRadioKMAN.com, your online resource for the news and information that matters to you.
Your News Radio KMAN Manhattan area forecast calls for a chance of sprinkles before 8 p.m. tonight, but will gradually clear up during the remainder of the evening. 33 the expected low with light winds. Sunshine, a high of 51 then tomorrow. West winds between 5 to 15 that could get as high as 35 miles per hour. We get below freezing then tomorrow evening. 29 the expected low with clear skies and wind gusts out of the west that could get as high as 20 miles per hour.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! You jabronis hit the jackpot!
That Hollywood blonde jabroni, Hulk Hogan!
Ow! Is this jabroni's name?
Jabroni of the week. Man, the show's kind of a bit of a bummer so far. I feel like I've just been I hate talking negative sports. It just bothers the hell out of me. Especially when it's my own team. I love the Cats. I hate talking bad about them. Hate talking about coaches and changing jobs, and bothers the absolute hell out of me. But one more thing, I really piled on the offense there. Defensively, run defense still doing its thing for the most part. Pass defense, dudes falling down. It's still not pretty. But my big issue lately, this team struggles to get stops on third down. How about this? Over the last 3 games, K-State's third down defense is 113th in the nation at 50%. That is an ugly number. And then the long snapper to holder fiasco, the debacle that's happened the last 2 games. Listen, as far as I understand, the ass-chewing culture in sports isn't what it used to be. But if there's a group that needs that maybe the most, it could be them, because of long snapping and holding being such a routine thing and practiced millions of times a week. Yeah. And it should be the easiest to correct, right? That may need it the most. All right, here we go. Jabroni of the week time. 3 dishonorable mentions. I will culminate with my Jabroni of the week. I'm going to double down on our teams, and I'm talking about the NFL. Dishonorable mention number 1 goes to the Chicago Bears. AJ's training right now, so he may not be able to get on a mic to talk about this, but the Chicago Bears and the Packers, for it to be in the low-scoring game, was actually pretty entertaining on Sunday. But it came down to one final drive after the Bears give up the lead to the Packers. Here comes Cairo Santos, which, by the way, I thought the late clock management was pretty bad. But here comes all reliable Cairo Santos to kick a 46-yard game winner. It gets blocked, but it turns out that there should have been a 15-yard penalty because the D-line of the Green Bay Packers made contact with the long snapper. So a double whammy for the Chicago Bears to lose yet another game to the Green Bay Packers.
So I get a text after that game from Mitch saying, I'm happy the Bears covered. And I'm like, that's it. I'm playing country music tomorrow on Wildcat Insider. Oh boy, that got him.
No country music. He got my shot in.
He got a little nervous there when I mentioned that.
Well, then karma hits me once again, because my next dishonorable mention is Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. You want to talk about the ultimate microcosm, an example of the type of season the Cowboys are having? They're opening up the roof of AT&T Stadium for the first time in 2 years, and a huge piece of sheet metal falls from the ceiling and is literally inches away from landing on a guy. Could have hurt that person badly. Little trigger happy over there, guys. Let's calm down a little bit. Don't get me out that early. Anyway, back to Jerry Jones. That thing falls to the floor, and then everybody's fine. That's good news, but you want to talk about a microcosm of the season of the team falling apart. Who said it on Monday Night Football last night? Like, the bottom's already out, might as well take the top off as well. That the Cowboys season is just completely cooked at 3-7. But it goes back to what Jerry Jones was saying about the stadium and people complaining about the sun peeking through in the southwest corner, not using the curtain. It's supposed to be the home field advantage for the Cowboys, and yet it's hurting the Cowboys. More stadium issues is just exactly what the Cowboys need. It is the perfect microcosm of the Cowboys season. My final dishonorable mention is referees of a Florida high school football playoff game. Drama unfolded in a game between Flagler Palm Coast and Spruce Creek. Entertaining ball game in the Region 1 7A Rifles. I don't make up the numbers. They just give me what to read here. So anyway, it was a rematch from earlier in the year. Spruce Creek won 50-39. So Spruce Creek, they're winning the game. This rematch in the playoffs, they're winning 28-6. But here comes FPC. They're home. They come back, and they're down a point. One final drive, looking to score in the final moments. On second down at their own 35. It's 2nd and 1. Their quarterback takes a sack. So they burn their final timeout. They come out of the timeout. It's supposed to be 3rd down. When they look over at the marker, it's 4th down. Somehow, 3rd down just completely disappeared, and FCP is screwed. It's 4th down. They throw a ball to the sticks. It's just a yard shy, and they lose the playoff game. What's great about this is I found the live stream call. It's the home call for FCP of them losing, and not only losing the game, losing a 3rd down.
It was 2nd and 1. It should be 3rd down.
And the officials say it's 4th down.
It's 3rd down. It was 2nd and 1. They just took it down. They just took it down.
This is unbelievable. So it goes from 3rd down to 4th down.
No, it goes from 2nd down to 4th down.
Hayden Hayes in the shotgun. This is it. Takes the snap. He's looking. Throws. It's complete right at the sticks. And Robbie Daly is going to be short of the 1st down, and that will do it.
They took it down away. How does this happen? How does this happen in the playoffs? How?
One of the greatest color commentating calls I think I've ever heard. And when you add in the fist just pounding the table, we all know that's how you get your point across. They took it down is going to stick with me forever. They took it down. I'm going to wait to use that in a broadcast someday down the road. But FCP lost the game 36-35, and they lost it down. All right, but finally, my jabroni of the week. It's all of us that watched Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. We are idiots, and I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I was a sucker for Mike Tyson getting back in the ring. He's not 27 years old. He's like anymore. He's 58 years old or whatever. Jake Paul's still young. We know Jake Paul is basically just doing these hyped up celebrity boxing matches with all these retired fighters or NBA players or whatever. He's actually lost a match, but it's just these exhibitions to just draw money into hoping that Jake Paul gets knocked out. Everybody wanted to see Mike Tyson win that fight, but it wasn't going to be Mike Tyson prime. Jake Paul has no chance against Iron Mike, against the baddest man on the planet. But 58-year-old, yeah. First of all, clue number one should have been it's only 8 rounds and they're 2 minutes each. The combo punches from Jake Paul was no more than a 1-2. Mike Tyson hardly threw any punches. It was a glorified pillow fight. I think we got worked. And yet 66 million of us tuned in just hoping Mike Tyson would somehow knock out Jake Paul. Jake Paul probably could have knocked Mike Tyson out. We fell for it. I think we got conned. but we also should have known better. That's going to wrap up hour number 1 of the game. We are short hour number 2. We're out at 5:30, but when we come back, we take a look at K-State versus Mississippi Valley State with MitchPom next on the game.
Nestled in the heart of Wamego, there's a place where every dish tastes like it's straight out of Grandma's kitchen, maybe even better. Welcome to Friendship House, where we pride ourselves on cooking up comfort with a touch of heart. At Friendship House, we start early each morning chopping, mixing, and baking. Why? Because we believe in the magic of food made from scratch. From our savory soups to our sweet, crusty apple pies, every bite tells a story of tradition and craft. Gather around our tables or order for takeout for a taste of nostalgia, whether it's a family dinner, a catch-up with old friends, or a quiet afternoon all to yourself. You're always home at Friendship House. Join us for daily breakfast and lunch that promises a variety of deliciousness and a touch of home with every bite. It's comfort food that warms the soul. Visit Friendship House today in Wamego. Just like Grandma's cooking, if not better, we're here ready to serve you a plate of homemade happiness. See you at Friendship House, where every meal is made with love, just like Grandma. Friendship House just off the Yellow Brick Road in the heart of Wamego.
After facing a multitude of challenges since 2020, Flint Hills Area Transportation Agency has decided to evaluate the current system and seek out the current needs and wants of the local communities to guide a path forward. Your input is vital. Flint Hills Addabus needs your help. Get involved and share your input to help guide Addabus so they can provide more convenient and efficient connections to jobs, services, and educational opportunities. Take the survey by going to fhata.org/study.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jake Powell with Manhattan Fire Department, here with some smoke alarm tips to keep you and your family safe. Install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area, and on every level of the home. Interconnect all the smoke alarms throughout the home for the best protection. When one sounds, they all sound. Make sure you can hear the smoke alarm from where you sleep. Test your smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button. And make sure everyone in the home understands the sound of the smoke alarm and what to do if it goes off. Smoke alarms with non-replaceable long-life batteries are designed to remain effective for up to 10 years. If the alarm chirps, warning that the battery is low, replace the entire smoke alarm right away. For smoke alarms with replaceable batteries, change these batteries at least once a year. If the alarm chirps, replace the battery. All smoke alarms should be replaced when they are 10 years old or no longer function when you push the test button and change the battery. For more fire safety tips, visit us on Facebook at Manhattan Fire Department.
Brought to you by the Manhattan Fire Department and Manhattan Broadcasting Company.
KS State Bank wants to be your bank. Find the solutions you've been looking for at ksstate.bank. KS State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. KMAN, Manhattan.
Weather on News Radio KMAN is brought to you by the Flint Hills Discovery Center. Host your next event or holiday party at the Discovery Center. Visit FlintHillsDiscovery.org for more information.
Your News Radio KMAM Manhattan area forecast calls for a chance of sprinkles before 8 p.m. tonight, but will gradually clear up during the remainder of the evening. 33 the expected low with light winds. Sunshine, a high of 51 then tomorrow. West winds between 5 to 15. That could get as high as 35 miles per hour. We get below freezing then tomorrow evening. 29 the expected low with clear skies and wind gusts. Out of the west, that could get as high as 20 miles per hour.
Do I have John Cena's theme in there? Is that mine? Oh, I don't remember ever playing John Cena's theme. That must have been a long time ago. But it's a good one. The game is back. The game is here on News Radio KMA. And the game after work, Mitch Fortner, now Cole Dutchendorf on the board, and AJ Shaw hanging out as well. We got a few moments left on the show. Now's your last chance to text the word MIDI to 785-537-1350. I have a 4-pack of tickets to give away. K-State women's basketball tomorrow night taking on Milwaukee. Tipping off at 6:30, pregame coverage at 6 o'clock here on News Radio KMAN. But if you'd like to go, if you want 2 or 4 tickets, I'll let you decide. Text MIDI to 785-537-1350, and we'll be calling a random number after this segment before we head to Ask Us Anything. Men's basketball pregame begins at 6, tipping off at 7, a few minutes after 7. Hosting Mississippi Valley State. Will break down that game here in just a moment. And, of course, K-State football on Saturday. They host the 5-5 Cincinnati Bearcats, and that kicks off at 7 p.m. Power K game day will start at 3 in the afternoon. Myself along with Zach Nemechek, Mason Voth, and Tim Everson. And Friday night, boy, that's a big game for Manhattan High. Sub-State at Derby. Both teams are 11-0. And that game kicks off at 7 o'clock on Friday night. Pregame coverage at 6:30 here on News Radio KMAN. Tonight from Bramlage, K-State looking to get right as they host the 1-3 Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State. Let's make a prediction.
Here's MitchPom with tonight's prediction.
Oh boy, I was trying to think of a good quarterback analogy to explain how bad Mississippi Valley State is. Like if I were to go Chiefs, Brody Croyle, Tyler Palco, they didn't play long. They didn't get a whole bunch of starts or anything, but they were really bad. I mean, you may remember back in the 80s, Todd Blackledge. I wasn't alive around that time. I just know about him not being too good. He was better of a broadcaster, I guess. That's as good as I'm going to do. Of course, every Dallas Cowboy quarterback has been nothing but money, so can't go the Cowboys route, but I can tell you the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State will be coming in with a record of 1-3. K-State is 2-1. First meeting all time. This is K-State's last matchup before they head to the U.S. Virgin Islands for the Paradise Jam when they take on George Washington in the first round this Friday at 7 p.m. K-State 2-1 after a loss this past Thursday to LSU, 76-65. K-State got its butts kicked on the glass, out-rebounded 43-25. K-State was 5 of 21 from 3. I mean, the word embarrassing was just kind of thrown around from K-State fans, a pitiful performance, whatever you want to say. Even Coach Tang brought up the word embarrassed talking to the media yesterday.
You know, sometimes you have to have something that, embarrasses you to get you to, really own up to it. And so I know that I was embarrassed that I didn't have our guys ready. Now, I wasn't embarrassed with our guys. I was embarrassed with myself that I didn't have our guys ready. And so we've done a better job the last few days.
And then more from Tang about the issues on rebounding.
We weren't physical enough. And so it's, we play in a grown man's league, and this was a great wake-up call for us. That size is not enough. You've got to be physical.
Well, here's the thing about Mississippi Valley State. It's going to take a monster performance, like a 40-point performance to make this game memorable. Because weeks down the road, we're probably not going to even remember this one. It was just a game on the schedule because K-State should just take care of business. This isn't one of those games that it's going to, because we know how bad the opponent is, I'll break that down here in just a little bit, that it's going to be like, all right, as long as you don't lose for one, that'd be just a disaster, but you expect K-State to just win by blowout fashion and get right in a number of areas. Rebounding, shooting, and you're not going to fully redeem the loss to LSU tonight. That's impossible. Well, at least you can take a step in the right direction. Mississippi Valley State is led by third-year head coach George Ivory, and they're in that like they are every year. Their non-con is just going all over the road, getting blown out, and cashing checks. They've already played at Texas. They've played at Missouri. They played at Iowa State. And here in the near future, they're playing K-State tonight. They still got to play on the road at BYU, at Utah, at North Texas, Tulsa, LSU, Liberty, UC Santa Barbara, all on the road. Through 4 games, this is how bad Mississippi Valley State is. 355 teams in Division I college basketball. They are dead last in scoring offense. They are dead last in 3-point field goals per game at 2.8. They are dead last in turnover margin. They're second to last in scoring margin. They lose by 35 points a game. They are second to last in rebounding per game. They are second to last in assist to turnover ratio. They're 350th in the nation in 3-point percentage at 22.4. That's bad. The only stat that they have that is better than 309th in the country is blocks per game at 201st. 3.3 a game. They had 23 turnovers against Mizzou. They had 24 turnovers against Iowa State. Shooting the three in their road games, they are 1 of 12 against Iowa State. They are 1 of 10 against Mizzou, and they are 1 for 11 against the Texas Longhorns. I don't know how they did it, but the Delta Devils were only down 10 to Texas at halftime. I don't know how they did it. Texas must have had a bad first half. So you may be wondering, who was their only win against? Well, I'm here to tell you. Mississippi Valley State, their only win this season, 66-49 against the Mississippi University for Women. And I know what you're thinking, women? Yes, there were men on this team. They have a bunch of men's sports at the University of Mississippi for Women. It turns out that they started to admit men back in 1982 as against the Mississippi Constitution or whatever. It used to be worse. The school used to be named Mississippi Industrial Institute and College for the Education of White Girls. That's literally the old name of the school. Typically these days, though, you don't have, there actually used to be a ton of schools like this, Mississippi University for Women or teachers' universities or things like that. You don't find a whole lot of those anymore. But that's the team Mississippi Valley State beat. They are a D3 program, and the Delta Devils hit 8 threes in the game. So I don't know. I just hope nobody's caught off guard and they just have a hot shooting night. It comes out of nowhere. Of course, it would happen to a team like K-State, but I definitely don't expect it. They're led by 6'8" senior forward Alvin Stedrick, best player on the team on offense and defense, averaging 10.6 rebounds and shooting 42%. He does turn it over 3 times a game, but he's a pretty decent defender. Not looking good for Mississippi Valley State, so we got to get to the famous alumni. Maybe this they'll get some some pity points out of MitchPom if we go over to the famous alumni. So let's see what we got here. We start with Patricia Hoskins. So she is the NCAA Division I women's basketball record holder for points per game in a season with 33.6. That stands today. And she held the record for points scored in a career from 1989 to 2001. That record broken by Jackie Stiles. Alfonso Ford is also a graduate of Mississippi Valley State. He became the first player in NCAA Division I history to average 25 points per game in 4 straight seasons. And he currently stands 5th all-time in scoring in men's college basketball history with 3,165. That's a really good start. And then the last person for the famous alumni for Mississippi Valley State, Jerry Rice. You had to know he was coming. Arguably the best wide receiver in NFL history, won 3 Super Bowls with the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, he's a dude. He's a dude. A lot of dudes for famous alumni, but, that's 3. Still sounds like Mississippi Valley State needs like 7 or 8 more to be competitive tonight. All right, keys to the game. Well, Coach Tang gave us those on Monday.
The offensive and defensive rebounding, and then setting our defense on in the half court and being able to guard guys. And 18:50 to go in the game. It's a 8-point game at Texas, and Texas is a really good team. So we don't take anybody lightly. We have to keep getting better, and they're gonna come. They're coming in to try and get a win, and we have to bring the fight to them.
All right, so I'm going to expand on that and bring up a couple of things. One, I'm seeing I want to see what Doug McDaniels does in his second start. I thought some pretty decent leadership, some pretty decent play against LSU. He was one of the few I thought just individually played well. There is going to be a magnifying glass on Coleman Hawkins tonight, just to play well. And Coach Tang says they probably need to run more things through his style of basketball. I don't know what that looks like necessarily. Right now, he's a swingman that's not shooting well. He's 30% from the floor and 3 of 13 from 3, averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds, and most of his points against LSU was late, didn't matter, wide open at the bucket. Coleman needs a big game tonight. He really does. If he doesn't score in double figures, to me, that's not a good look. I also wonder minutes-wise, if K-State does just blow it open early How much does Coleman actually play? I would hope he plays quite a bit. I think he needs to play quite a bit. I think he needs to get right, and so does K-State in general, based on how they performed against LSU. So those are just a couple of things. They obviously shoot well, rebound the hell out of it. They should demolish Mississippi Valley State on the boards. MitchPom gives K-State a 99.7% chance of winning tonight. My percentage is sure. Let's go with that. I'm cool with that. MitchPom going 82-52. K-State is a 39.5-point favorite. I don't have K-State covering, but I have them close to covering. I think a big goal tonight, don't let them score 50 points. Keep them under 50. I do not want to see them score 50 points tonight. It should not be that kind of game for Mississippi Valley State. Cat should pour it on offensively. My final score, have it a wider margin of victory. Final score, 85-48, but the Cats have to hit some shots. Ball movement will be key, as it is every game. They're pretty good about it. Man, if the Delta Devils come out and play some good defense, this could get annoying kind of quickly. Well, I think it's all fair to expect that K-State needs to dominate tonight. Simple as that. And take a step in the right direction before the Paradise Jam, starting on Friday against George Washington. Cole, anything you want to add to that?
You know, before you gave your score prediction, I was thinking 85-47. Okay. So we're in sync pretty much. I mean, give it 1 point, but I'm with you. Get right game for sure. Offense did not look good against LSU. Really, there was no flow. A lot of not even a lot of turnovers. You just
7
bad shots.
Yeah.
Just not good shots, not good looks, and they weren't converting on the good looks that they did get. So hopefully, like you said, a get right game.
Well, I think Brendan Hausen is going to get some open shots, and he's going to probably knock them down. So another player should probably bring up is Max Jones. I don't have the box score against LSU in front of me, but I think he was just as off as everybody else. LSU came in, and even though with just a small sample size, they were the best team in the nation so far, guarding the three-point line. And their defensive pressure on ball, off, whatever, was really good. It was a tough night for K-State to get open looks. But I felt like the offense fell into the bad habits of last year, where K-State was trying to play a 5-out and try to go one-on-one with defenders, and nobody was beating anybody. Nobody could beat anybody to the hoop. That should be way different tonight. I say should. But for real, I'm not expecting many surprises, as in Mississippi Valley State being competitive. If they are, it's for maybe a little while. K-State should for sure pull away at some point and win big. Okay, that's MitchPom. We take our last time out. We wrap it up. Ask us anything after these words.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
This holiday season, we asked folks to describe the Jingle Bell Rock with only one word.
Electric.
Adventure.
Magical.
Intriguing. Wonderful.
Mysterious.
Exciting.
Treasure.
Invigorating.
Electric.
Adventure.
Magical. Intriguing.
Wonderful.
Mysterious.
Exciting.
Treasure.
Invigorating.
Electric.
Adventure.
Magical.
Wonderful. Exciting.
Mysterious.
Invigorating.
Wonderful. Exciting.
Invigorating.
Electric.
Wonderful. Exciting.
Invigorating.
And you can tell us the word you'd use when you find the Jingle Bell Rock.
It's almost time for the biggest, brightest, merriest event of the year. The hunt for the G. Thomas Jewelers, Godfrey's Ranges, and Tactical Supply Hy-Vee Jingle Bell Rock is about to begin. Celebrate the season with the longest-running Shop Local campaign for a shot at bragging rights, glory, and thousands of dollars in cash and prizes. Clues start Monday, December 2nd. This could be the year you find the G. Thomas Jewelers, Godfrey's Ranges, and Tactical Supply Hy-Vee Jingle Bell Rock.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, you are not alone. When you call or text 988, you'll be quickly connected to trained crisis counselors who will listen to your concerns, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed. There is hope. Dial or text 988 to connect with the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or contact Pawnee's Crisis Stabilization Unit at 1-800-609-2002. Both are available day or night.
At this very moment, Doctors Without Borders is on the ground in communities around the world, delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most. Our teams are bandaging war-wounded patients caught in the crossfire in Sudan, providing clean drinking water in Haiti, and performing emergency C-sections in Yemen. Doctors Without Borders teams are in over 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving work is made possible by our movement of supporters, people like you who help our patients even when they're half a world away. At Doctors Without Borders, we won't stop working to bring our patients and their communities from crisis to care.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Ramsey Show.
The problem is the stupid banks will loan you so much money that they put you in bankruptcy because they don't have an off button. They'll just loan you money. You know, you can go get a credit card, you can go on a trip you can't afford, you can go down here and get a car. You know, there's actually people out there walking around that still think that if the bank will loan it to you, it means you can pay
afford it.
The same people that think if you have checks left in your checkbook, there must be money in the account. Same people.
Life and money advice. The Ramsey Show. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on News Radio KMAN.
I'm AJ Shaw with a sports update for News Radio KMAN as the game continues. K-State junior running back DJ Giddens was one of 10 running backs in the country, including 4 from the Big 12 to be named a semifinalist for the 2024 Doak Walker Award. The PWC SMU Athletic Forum announced Tuesday. Giddens is the 4th player in school history to be named a semifinalist or finalist for the award that recognizes the top running back in college football. Darren Sproles was a finalist in 2003, while Daniel Thomas and Deuce Vaughn twice were each semifinalists. The Big 12 Conference named K-State graduate Aaliyah Carter as its Offensive Player of the Week. After leading the Wildcats to a top 25 sweep over TCU, the league office announced Tuesday. Carter earns her second weekly honor of the season after picking up 22 kills against then number 18 TCU. Her 8th 20-kill match of the season to power K-State to its first victory over a ranked opponent this season. In addition to hitting at a .308 clip, Carter tallied 10 digs to complete the 32nd double-double for her career, while also totaling 3 blocks against the Horned Frogs. The Dubuque, Iowa product has now produced 25 career matches with 20 or more kills, which is one shy of tying second all-time in school history, alongside K-State's first-team All-American Don Cady. Cats tonight, men's basketball taking on Mississippi Valley State in Bramlage, looking to bounce back after a loss Thursday against LSU. Pregame is at 6, tip at 7 here on News Radio KMAN at 101.5 K-Rock.
All right, since Cole's on the board, he's now learning that when you're running the board, you're running the show, your questions, ask us anything. So this is the first one ever from Cole. Here we go.
You know, it's chilly weather outside. It's been drizzling a little bit today. We're in that kind of the sweet spot of some peak fall weather. So I thought it fitting to ask, what's your favorite soup?
First of all, you can keep the music underneath us. There you go. Keeps the mood, you know what I'm saying?
I like it.
Is chili technically soup?
I'll allow it for the question.
Because I think it depends on how it's prepared. AJ's saying no, because it could technically be a stew. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So if we're not counting chili, I'm a classic chicken noodle guy, chicken noodle soup. But also, I'm always down for some New England clam chowder.
Okay.
And ironically, the best New England clam chowder I've ever had was in San Francisco.
Seems a little backwards.
It's apparently a big clam chowder place.
Huh.
You can get bread bowls all over the place, and they'll just stuff it with clam chowder. But if we ever allow chili as being a soup, I'm probably going chili.
That's fair.
What about you?
You know, there's one at Olive Garden that I'm a big fan of. I'm a soup and salad guy at Olive Garden, and I get it's just a chicken gnocchi soup. It's phenomenal. It's nice and creamy. It has a great texture, and gnocchi it's so fire.
Well, there's also like at hibachi restaurants. I don't know what kind of soup it is.
Like pho?
No. Like Umi's or whatever has it.
Okay.
It's like the appetizer. But I've had it at other hibachi restaurants. I don't know what kind it is, but it's got like a mushroom in it or something. But it's really good.
Is that not pho soup?
Is it just technically pho?
I think it's. I could be wrong. I could be mixing up my cuisines. I'm not sure.
Is that also how you say the word?
PHO?
Is it pho? Okay.
I think it's pho.
There's a restaurant now here in town that I haven't been to yet, but I've heard it's really good. I'm just glad you didn't say like Panera or something like that. Had a girlfriend that just always wanted to go to Panera, and I'm like, this is all made in a bag, right? Or something like that. I don't think soup is on the menu in Bramlage tonight. But I'm always down for chicken noodle. Oh, let me tell you something though. Chicken noodles over mashed potatoes. Oh, I could eat that every day. That sounds really good. We got to wrap it up. Cats, Delta Devils, tipping off at 7. Pre-game coverage in 30 minutes. I'm heading to Bramlage. Thank you for listening to the game on News Radio KMAN. For the boys, go Cats.
Here's AJ Patterson with Interim Healthcare Family Foundation.
At Interim Healthcare, we're more than just healthcare providers. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your support system. We believe in giving back to the community in every way we can, and that's why we're proud to offer our medical loan closet through our Interim Family Health Foundation. Whether you need crutches, a wheelchair, or even a hospital bed, our medical loan closet is here to help. It's completely free and open to any